What is up, YouTube? It's me, HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys finally with the Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red video. That's right, guys. I am finally taking a tackle at the remakes of the Kanto series, of the Kanto games in the Pokemon series. Happy 30th birthday to Pokemon as they are celebrating their 30th anniversary, February 27th of 2026, which, to be fair, was literally a couple of weeks ago. I did get the chance to not only watch the Pokemon Day event, but also enjoy the lavish retrieve of the Pokemon event, which we're still waiting for because they did announce that Pokemon Gala Darkness, Pokemon HD Gala Darkness, is supposed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch Online system for the GameCube um, for the Nintendo Switch 2 because it has the GameCube. But we have not heard anything yet. Only that it's supposed to come out in March, and it's March. So we don't know if we're getting it this week, next week, or whenever, but we're supposed to be getting it. Anyway, Fire and Leaf Green are what the focus is of this. And it's actually the first game in the Pokemon series to be a remake. Literally taking the original red version and green version and bringing them into the modern fray, which was at that time Generation 3. Many of you are going to be saying, wait a minute, green version, we never got that here in the US. That's right. Internationally, we received Pokemon Red and Blue. They basically just did a switch up from Venusaur into Blastoise, kind of doing that whole fire versus water thing. Did it really affect the games itself? No, not really. I mean, unless you want difficulties between certain Pokemon, that's literally all that really changed. Was, hey, playing with this Pokemon would be a lot easier than playing with this Pokemon, and then this Pokemon is going to be like your hard mode because a lot of Pokemon that it's supposed to be strong against aren't going to come up until late game. And while most of your team is going to be surrounded by making teams around that Pokemon, you're going to have to deal with a lot of things than normal, which is true. One of the big things, of course, is that yes, most people probably notice is that these Generation 3 games are not going to hold your hand. You're going to have to do a lot of work, you're going to have to do a lot of grinding, and you're going to have to do a lot of putting the time into it, as opposed to more modern games, which definitely are still helpful in a way of keeping things balanced. While most Pokemon fans would probably say otherwise, I will definitely tell you that I don't miss the OG way of playing Pokemon. I actually prefer the experience share, and I prefer that son of a bitch to be on. While some people are going to say, ew, you like that? Yeah, I did actually, and it saved me so much time. Because, oh my god, I hated having to run around and having to train my Pokemon, running around doing this and that. And even more so because there weren't a lot of games that offered trainer rematches, so you could battle against the trainers in the region to gain more experience. You were basically stuck in certain points and had to either play through certain things to win certain items like rare candies, or you grinded around with the different Pokemon. Luckily enough, I didn't have to worry about that in some cases. And when I did, it was only just raising the handful of Pokemon that I needed to get me through the journey. Which is also something I want to point out too. There's been a lot of discrepancies when Pokemon Company announced that Fire and Leaf Green put onto the Switch and Switch 2. People said, well, why don't you just emulate the game instead of paying for $20? The thing is, most of us are already screwed because of how Nintendo is handling current game and current state of game situation. But we also want to just point out to the factor is this. Let us have our moment for some of us millennials and some of those who are Gen Z and Gen Alpha who want to experience older Pokemon games. Let us have our fun. Yes, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I am speaking for a handful of us that said we do understand you guys like your hand holding, which is fine. I don't mind your hand holding. But also at the same time, make it beneficial to me for going to play the game in the post off when things are going crazy, because I want to make sure that I'm making good decisions. Which is true. So, because of the whole lineup of things and what's been going on, there was a lot of backlash against Pokemon Company, even though most people were still buying these games like crazy. And they're actually still doing pretty well in terms of being the highest downloaded game bought right now within the last few weeks. So shout outs to Pokemon Company for at least doing it and not putting it on NSO, which means it would have been locked behind the bullshit of having to spend money on the NSO. Which even then, you still kind of spend money on NSO because you need to trade collectively. Because yeah, the one thing that they said they hadn't fixed or tried to fix was the ability to trade people. You still have to trade locally like you did with Fire and Leaf Green originally. Meaning that you have to have someone with a Switch and you have to be able to have one either the copy of Fire and Leaf Green, Fire Red or Leaf Green in order for you to trade your Pokemon over. I know yes, I've seen the videos. There's guys who are able to oh yeah. There are guys who are able to that went through coding and stuff, and they found out secret codes so you can duplicate Pokemon, trade Pokemon amongst yourselves, and do a whole lot of other stuff to help you complete your Pokedex. Which thank you. Um, but also at the same time, it's like damn, a lot of this stuff is really here. And I'm sitting on it. I can easily use it. And definitely will be, because I still have not really finished much of my Pokemon journey yet in Fire Red and Leaf Green. But I will. I will get to it soon. I've just been playing Minecraft like crazy. So, what are the newer features for Fire Red and Leaf Green? Alright, let me go down the list. I won't go with the exclusives yet, but I will go through some of the items and things like that and such. So, some items have been changed around to fit, yes, the Gen 3 TM mechanics in the Gen 3 TM lineup. Also, some Pokemon in some gym leaders do not carry the same lineup of things that they used to. More so is that because of it, see, it does make you have to play in more of a different mindset. While yes, it's just basically a reskin of the original game for Red, and Green for Generation 1, outside of Yellow, because Yellow did get a remake in the forms of Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. Let's be very honest. These games aren't bad, but they definitely show their age. And in some cases, yeah, it's nice to see it. It's nice to experience it. But I will agree. They could have done a lot better in terms of, sprucing up things. But I can't even be mad because, heck, I spent $20 on it. And I'm going to spend another $20 soon so I can buy the other game. But, yeah, like I said, I love that they're here. But the changes to them from their originals is what stands out. You don't have access to the missing known glitch. That was the first thing they got rid of. The second thing is there's the glitch with Mew that I don't know if it still works. It probably doesn't. But from what I do know is that they did add a lot of the post-game stuff into the game that were the mystery gifts. So you're able to mystery gift Ho-Oh, Lugia, and stuff like that. There's also the gym leader changes. No, not the actual gym leaders. They're still there. But the TMs that those gym leaders held in Generation 1 are not the same ones they held in Gen 3. Also to note that those who were holding TMs and giving to you as rewards in Generation 2, their lineup has also changed as well. Because there are only a handful of gym leaders in Gen 2 that gave you items up until Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which finally did fix that. So, for the lineup of the gym leaders, they are the classic Kanto 8. Brock, Misty, Surge, Erica, Koga, Sabrina, Blaine, and Giovanni. Each of them being the respective gym leaders and those who were holding respective types within the Kanto region. Brock, the rock hard determined trainer, is going to have the Boulder badge and give you the TM for Rock Tomb instead of the TM for Bind. Bind is no longer a TM. They basically just gave him an actual rock type move to play around with. And funny enough, it's the signature move from Generation 3's rock type gym leader, Roxanne. Then we move on to the Cascade badge and its gym leader, Misty, the tomboyish mermaid. She is now holding Water Pulse as her TM, which was introduced in Generation 3 as a 60 power water move with 100% accuracy that had a chance of confusing the opponent. This is in exchange for her Bubble Beam TM from Gen 1, which on hit had the chance of reducing speed. Then we have Surge, who gave you the Thunder badge, and also gave you the move for Thunderbolt. This time around, he's giving you Shockwave instead of Thunderbolt, which does ponder into where Thunderbolt is. But anyway, moving on from that is of course Erica, the Celadon City Gym leader. Generation 1, she gives you Mega Drain. Gen 2, she gives you its upgrade, Giga Drain, which she's continuing to do here in Generation 3 sorry about that, you guys, by also giving us Giga Drain, which is a really amazing grass type move. It's special. It gives you a massive amount of HP per the damage that you dealt. restoring it. But in Generation 1, it is 5 PP, while later gens buffed, actually Generation 4, the gen after, bumped it up from 5 to 10, while also decreasing some of the other moves, because they were getting out of hand too. Excuse me. Then we move over to Koga, our ninja, and he gives you the Soul Badge, and as well as the TM Toxic. Uh, Koga's move does not change, and even in Generation 2, where his daughter now takes over the gym, she's one of the few gym leaders that actually still gives you a TM for defeating her. Her TM for defeating her is, of course, what was it? Toxic. Because in Generation 2, his daughter is Janine, and she gives you the move for Toxic. They're one of the few gym leaders in the Kanto region that actually gives you TMs for defeating them in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. We move on to Sabrina and her Marsh badge of the Saffron City Gym. While holding this time, she gives you Calm Mind, a very powerful psychic type move which buffs the special attack and special defense of a Pokemon that uses it. While in Gen 1, she gave you the move for Psywave, which either did normal damage, half damage, a quarter damage, or full damage, depending on how it wants to rotate the sun that day. Then from there, you have Blaine, who I believe still gives you Fire Blast for defeating him instead of Overheat. And then Giovanni, who then gives you Earthquake. Actually, I want to look that up right now. Pokemon FireRed, LeafGreen. Leaf Green. Gym Leader. Rewards. Okay. Alright, here is what Cerebi tells you. Yeah, so Brock gives you sorry, it's a lot of stuff I have to read. But yeah, Brock gives you Rock Tomb, Misty gives you Water Pulse, Surge gives you Shockwave, Erica gives you Giga Drain, Toxic from Koga, Sabrina gives you Calm Mind, Blaine gives you TM38, which is Fire Blast. Alright. And Giovanni gives you Earthquake. Okay, so I was correct. They are giving you those moves for defeating them. And the only reason why this slipped my mind is because it's been a minute since I actually had to play FireRed and LeafGreen. And the last time I played was LeafGreen on the Fin emulator on my phone. So, sorry, not sorry. I really did forget all these movesets that were given and all the actual TMs. Because in Generation 3, the Fire Specialist in the Hoenn region, her name is Flannery. She gives you Overheat for defeating her and not Fire Blast. You can actually go buy Fire Blast, Thunder, and Blizzard from the Pokemon, from the major mart over there in Lily Cove, while Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower are in the game corner, and you have to spend a whole bunch of money to get them from game corner. To be fair, I kind of did that not once but twice. But anyway, yeah, so there's definitely a lot of things in terms of gym leader changes. Also have graphical updates, to fit the more modern aesthetics of the games as well. Which is funny though, because I'll say this, I prefer their Gen 4 remake outfits more than I prefer their Generation 3 outfits. Especially for some gym leaders like Sabrina, who they give her a pair of white khakis, some of these arm bracelets that have like these Techno Neo lights in them, and a purple crop top. And she looks amazing in her redo. I love it, and it's definitely a major glow up from what she got initially, which was basically that weird body suit with a whip that she had around. Oh, fun story. Yeah, Sabrina's model is based off of a female cool trainer back in Gen 1, because in the prototype for the Pokemon series, trainers was going to have whips and microphones and stuff. You saw that in the trainer class for tamers. But a lot of that also had to be cut out because they didn't want all those connotations of, dealing with PETA and slavery and all of that. Because even though, kid-friendly game. But the gambling stayed. And that was actually pre-Peggy's situation back in the EU, which is why Generation 4's Heart Gold Soul Silver International did not have the slot machines. But if you played the Japanese version, it does have the slot machines. Speaking of slot machines, they're back. Celadon has a vibrant hue, and actually, all the towns have great hues. Instead of there being eye gouging solid colors with dark and lighter tones, just Jesus, Cinnabar Island, they decided to basically fix that and give them that Gen 3 aesthetic and Gen 3 look so that it looks a lot more better. There's also the changes of items that you're getting as well. For instance, in order to enter Saffron City, you have to give um, oolong tea to one of the guards, and then he splits it between the other three guards that'll allow you to enter Saffron City. You still get your HMs in this game, but they also added Waterfall and Rock Smash into the game as well, just for like other parts of exploration, and even more so, just to play around with other things. Okay. Anyway, we then move on, of course. There's not really big changes in the Elite Four or anything, and even more so, those teams basically just stay the same. They're just a lot more cohesive with move pools, because the move pools are a lot better in this game, and they actually give you a challenge. Are they any real better? To be honest with you, not really. But hey, they're a lot more of a step up than why does my why does Lorelei have a level 54 Dugong that knows Aurora Beam, where it should be learning moves like Ice Beam and Blizzard instead. Yeah. There's a lot of that in Gen 1, and luckily the remakes fixed that. Also, the remakes have post-game content in which you explore what's known as the Sevi Islands. Well, actually, you explore the first three of the Sevi Islands when you defeat Blaine. Uh, Bill comes and he actually asks you to take a trip with him to another area off not too far from Kanto, in which he was trying to help them establish various Pokemon centers, and even establish connection to the mainland to where they can operate their Pokemon centers and interact with things as well from a global standpoint. Because at that point, now that you're playing Fire and Leaf Green, you're going to be able to see the changes in this game where you can now trade from Ruby, Sapphire, and even Emerald. Which Emerald came after Fire and Leaf Green, but even then, so people wanted that because it was a better experience in Generation 3. And even then, so fixed fixed some, but not all of the issues that game had too. So, with that in total, there was the whole just trying to figure things out with the Sevi Islands. So originally the Sevi Islands were going to be introduced in Generation 1. They were cut because of space limitations within the Game Boy Color. Well, the Game Boy in general. So after considering revisiting the game, that is when they decided to drop the bombshell of basically introducing all these new additional things. But do not get me wrong. I think it's awesome to see, all of these major waves of things happening. Because the Sevi Islands themselves were basically supposed to be home to more Pokemon that were not included that were either changed in the base game or moved because of the limitations of the Game Boy cartridges. Like, for instance, Moltres was supposed to be in Mount Ember, but because of limitations, they ended up moving Moltres into Victory Road, which did puzzle a lot of people because Articuno and Zapdos got areas in the game where you would respectively see them. Articuno in an ice cavern on a secluded island of ice, and then Zapdos over there at a power plant, giving it an electric charge. You can easily capture these Pokemon, and trust me, capturing them would be great because legendary Pokemon are still amazing. And even more so, I've seen a lot of people playing their games currently, and they're playing with Zapdos on their team because, well, the range of electric type Pokemon kind of suck in Gen 3, but that's for a whole different story. Anyway, there were a couple more answers into it, and where more Pokemon that didn't appear in the base game appeared here in the Sevi Islands. There's also some Sevi Islands plot when you start off about a little girl being missing. Her dad has like a meteorite that can help establish the connection between the mainland and the Sevi Islands, which you have to get to Billis once you explore the islands. There's also the Mushroom Maniac, yeah, in Generation 3, they added the mechanic to allow you to relearn moves via a move relearner. The move relearner also has access, needs you to trade in for the new MacGuffin, which in the Hoenn region was a heart scale. In Kanto, it is tiny mushrooms, where you can only get these off of taking them from parasites. There's only Pokemon that can actually produce them outside of running around various areas, and hoping that they respawn. Because there is not a day and night cycle in Fire Red Green, similar to the original games. So you can imagine trying to evolve Umbreon and Espeon in those games was definitely a pain in the ass if you did not already know what the schedule was to evolve them anyway. Thank you, later games, for fixing that. So, in total of that, there were a couple of other new options, like some new items to basically make the Poke TV that you got. It basically just taught you things about the game and their mechanics. There actually wasn't any of the items that were introduced in the beta to allow you to not have to use your Pokemon and carry up move slots, which would have been nice. But unfortunately, nope, that wasn't brought out as a thing until Generation 6. No, Gen 7, because the Ride Pokemon replaced the HMs. And then finally, there were no more HMs until you got to. No, not even Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, because the Pokédex had the ability to give you a way to call for new Pokemon to help you get through things, especially being able to not have you carry Pokemon to carry the moves for Rock Tomb, what was it? Rock Smash, Strength, and Rock Climb. God, I hate that. Oh, and Defog, which is only using like one air in a few areas, but Jesus Christ, Defog is not the friend of its spirit. So then at that point, yeah, there weren't too many major changes, just a lot of things to here and there to add to the Savvy Islands. Then there was the post game. And in the post game, you're able to encounter Johto Pokemon. You get a call from Bill basically saying that, hey, I need you to return with me to the Savvy Islands so that we can establish an even stronger link to connect with other islands and their distant Pokemon be able to trade with us. I.e., I want to see you trade your other, variations that you get more Pokemon. So in order to do such, you basically have to travel around the other Savvy Islands, deal with Team Rocket, because they still have a plot in the game for whatever reason, and basically get the Sapphire and the Ruby Stones, and that will allow you to help Bill establish a link with the Hoenn region, so that you can trade Pokemon over. There were also exclusives to the game, and I waited till later on to talk about these exclusives, because there are Johto Pokemon in the Hoenn region. While I don't know all of the Pokemon that were added in terms of Johto, I do know the version exclusives. So, if you're playing Leaf Green, which is the game I'm currently playing, the Pokemon that you're going to be encountering, which is, hold on, let me just do a couple of back spaces. Okay, here are the Pokemon. So, if you're playing Fire Red, for your main story, you will have Ekans and Arbok, Growlithe and Arcanine, Oddish Gloom, Vileplume, what is it? Golduck and Psyduck, Cloyster, Shelder, Scyther, Electabuzz, and then for post game, you'll get the evolutions, which are in pre-evolutions, so you'll get Scizor, Elekid, and Blossom, but then you'll also get Wooper, Quagsire, Murkrow, Quillfish, Skarmory, and Delibird. With also another handful of Pokemon that I don't remember that are going to be in the game, but they're like connected because they're in the game. Then, Leaf Green version. If you're playing Leaf Green, you'll get Sandshrew, Sandslash, Vulpix and Ninetales, Slowbro, Slowpoke, Bellsprout, Weepinbell, and Victreebel, Staryu, Starmie, Pinsir, Magmar, and then for the post, you'll get Slowking, Slowking, Magby, Azurill, Meryl, and Azumarill, Mischievous, Sneasel, Remoraid, Auxiliary, and Mantines. So basically filling the gaps for the Johto Pokemon that were included that were version exclusive. It is a bit crazy to know that is something they did, but yeah, they even took Pokemon who were not version exclusives and then broke them apart to be version exclusives. Meaning, if you want to Starmie on your team for Fire Red, you have to trade from other various games that are going to have them as residency, because that's what you're supposed to do. So, it wasn't one of those things where, like, man, not until I got older and was more access to the internet, why I was wondering why some Pokemon didn't appear in the game, and why some Pokemon were only in one game but not the other. We're in one game but not the other. You never knew that the reason why was because they wanted to sell both games so people could pick up both games, or people can pick up one version and the other person pick up another version and trade. Because sorry, some people don't do that outside of Japan. But overall, still good idea. Just execution just didn't work. Also, they gave you like that wireless thing too that was supposed to be attached to it to help you with the game itself. I mean, it's alright, but it wasn't nothing to frown about. Because even when I bought Pokemon Leaf Green for the first time, I never got the Pokewalker. Never understood why I didn't get the Pokewalker. I mean, the Pokemon Wireless adapter. Should have, but they didn't give it to me. Never know. Anyway, I know there's other Pokemon in the game, and of course I did go over like major exclusives and stuff. But really, honestly, not really much I wanted to really talk about as part of that. But there are other things I do want to talk about, which I still got your time for at least 4 more minutes. I did enjoy revisiting Leaf Green and soon Fire Red, but I'm trading over Pokemon because I need them. I'm not doing this game run without Starmie. I just cannot do that. Other Pokemon, not too bad. Starmie, I need you, baby. And the crazy thing about Pokemon itself is that no matter what generation, no matter what line of a Pokemon, someone's going to find ways to enjoy it, exploit it, and whatnot. I think just for the concept of it being a game that has always had a strong fan base and people that love it, please do not shit or shat on people unless it's something really stupid that they've done. Like, I don't know, someone using a fire type Pokemon against a water type Pokemon and then the water type Pokemon was going to a water type move. Because how did you not see that Starmie was going to hit you with a water pulse? Even though you're like 2 to 3 levels above that Starmie. Water pulse is still water pulse and you're going to get hit by that water pulse. But, you know, common sense versus stupidity. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, there are many things about this game that I wish many of you go out and explore and enjoy. There's no real wrong way of playing Pokemon Generation 1. It's only just play it, have fun, and enjoy it. Because the rest of us are. And we're too old to be dealing with all the extra bullshit, guys. Stop that shit. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Let people enjoy their games. So, alright guys, I finally did it. I talked about Pokemon Generation 1, Fire Red and Leaf Green. Well, Pokemon Generation 3 remake for Fire Red and Leaf Green. I have many other things and many other projects to talk about and go and do. And I hope you guys are ready for those. Thank you so much for your time and effort in watching this. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And HPJ signing out. Take care.